Alright, so let's do a couple review problems on solving by elimination. The first one here, if you remember what we're trying to do with elimination is to get these x's right here to cancel each other out when added together, or to get these y's over here to cancel out. You can choose either one, the x's or the y's. We would approach the problem differently depending on what we pick, so just whichever one looks easier for you. When I look at this, I notice that the y's are almost the same number, just they're both positive. If we were to add those together, you would get a positive 4y. But if one of those was negative, then we would have our negative 2y and positive 2y. If you remember, that's how we approach the elimination, is we want those to be the same number, just one positive, one negative. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to multiply the bottom equation by a negative 1. That gives me positive 4x minus a 2y equals a positive 14. So I just took that negative 1 and distributed it to all three terms of that equation. The equation above, right here, I'm just going to go ahead and write that below it. X plus 2y equals 6. And now you can see we have a positive 2y and a negative 2y. That was our goal because those will cancel each other out when we add them together. So we can go ahead and add these two equations. Just go left to right. 4x plus a 1x gives us a 5x. Negative 2y plus 2y cancels. Bring down your equal sign. And 14 plus 6 is 20. Keep solving for x. Divide both sides by 5. And we're getting x to equal a 4. So once you have your first variable, whether it's the x or the y, all you have to do is plug it back in to get the other variable that we need for our solution. You can choose either the top equation or the bottom equation from up here, whichever one looks easier to plug back into. I'm going to pick the top equation. Seems like it's smaller numbers, but honestly, whichever one you pick, if you do all the correct math, you should get the same answer. So in place of this x, I'm going to plug in a 4. So 4 plus, bring down my 2y equals 6. And now we just solve that equation for y. So subtract 4. 2y equals 2. And then divide by 2. And y equals 1. And then don't forget, when we write our final answer, it does have to be represented by an ordered pair. So our x was a 4 and our y is a 1. And there is our solution. All right, one down, one to go. So this next system, again, look at the x's, look at the y's, see which ones you would prefer to eliminate. The y's have bigger numbers, this -9, +8, so for me, I'm going to stick with the x's. Those seem like they might be less work, or just we get to work with smaller numbers to eliminate. So our goal is to make that 2x and the -5x the same number. We can use multiplication and multiply them up to the same number. So what do both a 2 and a 5 fit into? And hopefully we're coming up with 10. So we can take the top equation, we want that to be a 10x. Because it's already a 2x, let's multiply it by 5. And then we just have to multiply every single term by the 5. So that's going to give us 10x minus 45y equals 40. Alright, so the top equation is a 10x. We want the bottom equation to be a negative 10x. Well, the x is already a -5. If we multiply it by 2, that will get us the negative 10x. So multiply the entire bottom equation by 2. Negative 10x plus 16y equals negative 40. Alright, now we go and we add these two equations together. 10x plus negative 10x is 0, so that cancels away. Negative 45y plus 16y gives us a negative 29y equals, now 40 plus a negative 40, those cancel each other out also, just like the 10 and the negative 10, but we need to have a number over here, and if everything cancels from that side of the equal sign, it does actually equal a 0, so we want to go ahead and write in the 0. Alright, so don't worry about the fact that that's a 0. Some people think there's a mistake and we can't keep going, but let's just keep solving. Divide both sides by negative 29. So y equals, now if the zero's on the top of your fraction in the numerator, then that's okay. 0 divided by anything equals 0. If it ended up on the bottom, we'd have an issue. So y is equal to 0. Now to get the x, we just plug it back in. So look at the original top equation or bottom equation up here, whichever one you think you want to plug it into. For me, the top equation looks like smaller numbers, so that's the one I would pick. So I'm going to plug in, here's my 2x plus, oops, not plus, minus 9 times, plug in a 0 for that y, equals 8. 9 times 0 is 0, leaving us 2x equals 8, and then just keep solving and you get x equal to 4. Final answer, the x was a 4, the y, wait, what was the y? A 0, I almost turned 8. Y is a 0, ordered pair, there's your final solution.